The movie starts with a man speaking on how he found Athena, who was reborn as a helpless child ere a knight clad in gold armor gave his life to protect her as they crashed to the earth. Since then, he's been searching for a new generation of knights to protect Athena and the earth. Back into the present day. This is Saya, a headstrong street teen who spends his time fighting for cash and lives with the memory of his lost sister Patricia, but his memories are interrupted by Cassius, who informs him that it's his turn to fight. His opponent is Jackie the Beast, and in the fight there are no rules, anything goes until one gives up or black out, but whoever surrender will be vanished from the octagon ring. And the fight started whereas Saya avoid all the punches thrown by Jackie the Beast, which annoys Cassius because Saya is not fighting. Cassius decides to enter the ring and kicks off Jackie the Beast. He shows no mercy and attacks Saya. In the midst of fight, where Saya is about to lose, small memories of his sister come back to him and suddenly unleash a strange blue light from within him, throwing Cassius into the air. Saya decides not to fight and escape. Meanwhile, Cassius makes a call saying he believes he found Cosmo Boy. While in the locker room, a man enters and tells Saya that someone wants to talk to him and that he knows his search. Saya went to a dark place where a stranger appears saying that the fight has made some people upset and warns that soon Vandir Gurit, happened to be his ex-wife, will arrive to recruit him as warrior for her private army. Saya has to choose whether to come with the strange man or face against Gurad's warrior, and he decides to go with the strange man. They were intensely chased but managed to get in the car together with Mylok, the strange man assistant. Several missiles are sent to stop them and capture Saya, who showed the power of Cosmo during the fight. As they approach a tunnel, they were hit by missile, but fortunately they managed to escape. Saya wanted to know what is happening, but they knock him out. It appears that when Saya was a kid, his sister hid him in a closet and ordered him not to come out whatever happened. Saya saw his sister captured by several men with guns and he can't do nothing. When he wakes up, he finds himself on a plane with the strange men. As they get off the plane, strange man introduces himself as Alman Kido. He used to be a businessman showing some ancient collections. He mentioned that Athena has returned in human form, saying that Saya is destined to become one of her guardian, the Pegasus Knight. Saya doesn't believe him, so he prepares to leave, not until he mentions his sister. Alman Kido explains that Gurid detected a strong Cosmo signal and thought it was Patricia. In the midst of their conversation, a girl appears. Alman Kido introduces Sienna, her adopted daughter, the reincarnation of Athena, the god of war and wisdom. She hands him a box that contains the key to the Pegasus armor in order to defeat Gurad's army. Saya finds a lot to take in, so Alman Kido suggests to have breakfast and take the day off. Meanwhile, Gurid and Nero arrived at Cassius's ring, showing disappointment for losing Saya. Back to Alman's mansion, Sienna and Saya are having breakfast when Sienna begins to lose control and her Cosmo emerge. Alman Kido returns and warns Saya not to come near as it could kill him. He explains that she bears a goddess Cosmo in the body of a mortal. When sensors detect a Cosmo burst, the building automatically blocks the signal to keep Sienna hidden from Gurid. Meanwhile, Cassius faces of one of Gurad's soldier, and she agrees that Cassius is a strong man but not enough to defeat Saya unless if they give him the prototype. Saya and Sienna talk alone, where Sienna remembers when she was a baby that someone tried to kill her and a knight in gold armor gave his life to save her, and found by Alman and Gurid. On the other hand, Saya talks about his sister, that she was kind, strong and dedicated herself protecting him. He also asks Sienna about the Silver Knight mentioned by Alman, if he could teach him to control his Cosmo and use it to find his sister. At Gurad's building, the prototype procedure has started to Cassius, and Gurid is determined to know where Alman hides the girl. In the morning, Saya heads off with the Silver Knight. He asks Mylok where he should go, and Mylok tells him he must climb in a huge and steep mountain. Then Saya starts to climb in the midst of a terrible storm, and when he's finally about to reach the top, he meets the silver-armored knight named Marin. Saya introduces himself as the Pegasus Knight, but Marin refuses to train him. He asks for one chance, whereas Marin proposes to break a rock with his bare hands. As expected, he fails. Marin explains that all things in the cosmos are made from the same atoms where a knight can make it explode. She gave him another chance and tells him to focus and feel the cosmo within himself, but memories of his sister occupied his mind and prevent him from breaking the rock. Nevertheless, Marin decides to train him. Meanwhile, at Gurad's building, Cassios comes out transformed into a cyborg. Gurads remind him that their enemies are the gods themselves. In the mountain, Seiya training begins, but all he does is to dance and avoid attacks against the Silver Knight who manages to use her cosmo power. He is looking for a weapon, but Marin explains that knights wield no weapon and his cosmo is his weapon, and that he must focus to his energy and release it all at once like a shooting star. Seiya must learn to do it if he wants to survive the battles that awaits him. On the other hand, Sienna has seen another vision and tells Almond that she saw people burning and cities in ruins and everything destroyed, and it was Athena who did it. Meanwhile, Seiya's training continues but is not improving and unable to stop the attacks of Silver Knight as his mind is elsewhere thinking of his lost sister. He tries again to break the rock but still couldn't do it. At night, Marin explains that his mind and body must become one and should not mistake obsession for purpose. Although there is pain in his past, he must find the strength to face what is coming. The next morning, his training improves, and as the days pass, Seiya improves more and more until he reaches the point where he manages to hit the Silver Knight and break the rock. He can now manage to master the power of Cosmo and able to destroy a huge rock, whereas his ki transforms into a box and then into the Pegasus armor. However, he suddenly has a strong headache and remembers all the memories when his sister took by Gurad along with Alman. He realizes that Alman was involved in the kidnapping of his sister. He then decides to leave the island and went to Alman very angry. Sienna is there to stop him and take him out to tell what really happened to his sister, ignoring the rules by not leaving the mansion grounds. Sienna tells him that Alman did it because of her, because when she was young she had no control at all with her Cosmo, whereas her mom's arm destroyed and dying. She explains that Alman used the power of gold armor to save her mom. Since that incident, Gurad needs Cosmo to stay alive, that's why she seeks children like Seiya's sister. However, after she figured out that Seiya's sister didn't have Cosmo, she let her go but kept her under surveillance. His mother is convinced that Athena had returned to the world to destroy it, that's why she wanted to kill Sienna, and her father forced her into hiding. Meanwhile, Mylok informs Alman that Gurad is approaching, but he chooses to stay and tells to find Sienna. Sienna is thinking, what if her mother was right? That Athena will bring misery into this world. Sienna makes Seiya a promise that he will stop her at all cost if she loses her control. Gurad's ships arrive, forcing them to get back in the mansion to help her father. An explosion occurs in the mansion's doorway, causing Gurad's soldiers easily enters and defeat Alman's security. Meanwhile, Mylok tries to reach the ship, but several soldiers prevent him, so he is forced to fight them. On the other hand, Gurad arrives with her ex-husband Alman, and while they talk the past, Sienna and Seiya arrive, although Alman tries to stop Gurad's soldier. An intense battle is taking place outside between Seiya and Gurad's soldier when Cassios suddenly appears in a cyborg form. Seiya tries to transform in Pegasus Knight, but it didn't work, making it impossible for him to defeat Cassios. Meanwhile, Mylok's fight is intense, but he manages to defeat the soldiers. However, upon seeing that more soldiers approaching, he quickly gets into the ship. Alman tries to stop Gurad by launching an explosive, however he fails. Seiya is defeated, Alman dies, and Sienna is captured. Sienna mourns the death of her father, and Gurad regrets having to end her daughter's life to save humanity. Then Gurad orders Nero to begin the process. Meanwhile, when Seiya regained consciousness, he discovers that Sienna is captured and disappointed not being able to protect her. He then falls to his knees and has a vision of Marin that makes him reflect on who he really wants to save. When he returns to reality, Seiya and Mylok head to retrieve Sienna, but when they are close they are detected by the radar, so Seiya is forced to jump, but before doing so he activates the Pegasus armor, allowing him to land without any problem. His armor is now transforms in a level-up form with great Cosmo power, whereas he easily defeats the soldiers, including Cassios, who is defeated with just a powerful kick. While in the procedure to eliminate Sienna, Gyrid can feel the agony of her daughter and eventually regrets and decides to cancel it. But Nero refuses to obey her order and reveals himself as the Phoenix Knight who was once strong and brave but was corrupted by evil. He easily manages to defeat Gurad's soldier and gets the gold armor from Gyrid, although Gyrid tried to stop him. Nero was about to finish Gyrid when Sia enters, where intense battle between the knights begins. The blows are so powerful that they break the crystals and destroy the buildings. Both knights have a clash of powers that cause an explosion. Meanwhile, Gyrid tries to stop the procedure, however it's too late because Athena emerges from Siena's body. The Phoenix Knight also tries to stop her, but he is thrown away into the air with powerful explosion. Then Siena manages to communicate with Saya and reminds him of the promise he made that he will stop her at all cost when she loses control. Saya walks and tries to approach Siena even with difficulty just to make her realize that no one's destiny is written in stone, while his armor destroys and vanished into the air. Siena cried and managed to take control and stop Athena's destruction. When the storm stops, Saya has Siena in his arms and her hair turned purple. Saya helps her get up and looks for Gyrid, and with her Cosmo power she restores her mother's hand to show that she has learned to control her power. Gyrid apologizes for not trusting her. They leave the place along with Mylok. In the end, Siena discovers that the Athena's awakening is a sign that old gods will soon return and start a war, and they need to gather all the knights of the Zodiac to stop them, but first they need to find Saya's sister. And that is the end of the movie. Watch out for the upcoming recaps. Also, please like and subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to click on the bell icon to get new video updates. Thanks for watching.